Greetings once more. I am Russ Hatfield, and I am happily joined by my twin soul Kara, who is a higher dimensional member of Ashtar Command and is behind my shoulder. The channeling session for August is called The Wizard Rig and a Program Change. It was recorded in October of 1992 and channeled by Mark Crocker. This session is the very earliest one to join the archives and features pretty much only Omal and Corton with a quick appearance by Tia. A much fuller summary can be found at the link at our homepage below. For a full transcript of this latest channeling session, please go to our main homepage at hadesbasenews.com. We invite you to subscribe to be kept informed of future postings on our YouTube channel from the members of Ashtar Command. And now we present our latest entry into the Hades Base archives, The Wizard Rig and a Program Change.
Okay, you've got both buttons pressed now.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, is Corton around?
Not at present. He will be here shortly.
Okay, then let me ask you this quickly.
Okay.
Can you explain in great detail about the wizard rig,
Which one?
the one that they're trying to put together here?
You mean the paragram that they refer to as the wizard rig?
Yes.
Minute detail?
Yes.
Don't be surprised if I suddenly cut short due to the fact that Thornton might show up.
Okay.
Let's proceed. Okay, by placing the electromagnets around the spine, roughly approximately the area which has been described as the Queen's Chamber, you place them against the neck, the flesh, and it has to be a perfect cross point on the spinal cord. Okay. Secondly, by forming a crown or a coronet of some kind, you place that again with electromagnets, but with points on the end, and you have all the poles facing in the same direction.
Okay, now those, they couldn't be held together with copper.
No, because of the conductivity.
Right. What is a good material to use to make that crown so that we can put it together?
Ideally, crystal, but as I've perceived, it would be very expensive to get a crystal coronet made. You could try wood, and it has to be four of them, and they must be placed tightly against the skin of the head. Okay, now it must be approximately halfway up from the ears so that it covers that whole entire area, coming in at a perfect 90-degree angle. Okay. You have a fifth electromagnet placed directly onto the top of the skull, where the skull meets and joins together. Again, that must be pointed. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Got all that? Of
Yeah.
course, you're taking on it.
Right.
Okay. Now, by using an ion generator, you place that underneath, but facing directly up. So it kind of surrounds and envelops the individual. Okay, got that. Now, for a very high performance outfit, you will need black obsidian. Right?
Now, how does that fit in?
The black obsidian?
Yes.
It fits in around the neck, just below the electromagnets that are in the spinal cord area,
Okay.
so that it separates the body from the brain.
Okay.
The bodily functions will continue to work in a normal mode,
But separate.
but separated.
Okay.
Okay? The subconscious will keep the body functioning whilst the upper mental faculties will be able to focus on what they wish to do. Okay, got all that?
Yeah.
Now, plug the ears of the individual so that there is no external sound input. Also, cover the eyes
With
with anything so that there is no visual input.
okay.
This will mean that the mind will have to focus on whatever the desired job is that you wish to do. Okay?
Okay.
Now, where were we?
How the black obsidian fit.
Oh, yes. Okay. I'll probably discuss this in enough detail. Next question.
Is Corton there? Okay. Um, how can Mark control or use the insecurity he feels when people that are not introduced to channeling attend the channeling sessions?
He feels insecure?
Yes, because he kind of feels like an outsider,
A freak.
yeah.
This is understandable because he seems to do most of the channeling, if not all the channeling.
Yeah.
And feels that he is not participating in the discussion as he is elsewhere.
Right.
Uh, Probably talking to the people beforehand, get to feel what they are like, uh, relaxing, taking his time about getting into the channeling setup. Uh, Most importantly, relaxing.
Should you go into great detail in telling them about the channeling?
Um, it might bore them if they're not used to it or introduced to it before.
Also, how can we go into a regression looking for certain information, such as I want to go into a regression and find which past life I was related to Mark, because I feel in some way I'm related to Mark.
You can try to pre-program it. However, it is a 50-50 thing. Either you do or you don't.
Okay, and Russ would know how to program it.
Yes.
Okay. Um, Also, Mark would like to know if the suit of armor, he has dreams that he's in a suit of armor. He's had two separate dreams, one where he's standing on a ledge with a sword pointed and lightning strikes the sword, and he's in a suit of armor. And then he has had another dream where his suit of armor has, I forgot the name of it, but it's a weapon sticking out of him. And
Sword, possibly?
no, I
A lance?
perhaps horsemen use it.
Yeah, a lance.
Yeah, um, he has that in his chest through the suit of armor, and he wanted to know if somehow these were related or if they were a past life.
They are a past life, and yes, they are related. This sword, has he told you about it? Or
Has it?
he has this sword?
I think so. He told me about it in that he believes that the sword that he has right now is the same sword he had on that ledge.
Has he a name for this sword?
Yes, but I can't recall the name. I'll ask him.
Okay, well, in the next session we will find out, because I'm fascinated in this. I have a little hobby interest in history.
Huh. So you like swords, huh?
From an artistic point of view, for their function, it's a horrible function.
That's true.
Okay.
Okay. Also, Mark would like to know if he gets married, would it be wise to train his offspring about his warrior background? The tradition in his country is to train your offspring to the same status that you have?
Interesting question. Um, Presumably, a warrior step class is very disciplined. It may be that you could dump warlike side of it and use the discipline.
Yes, the nobleman.
Mm, the discipline. Yeah.
Okay. And that would be also to train them in farsighting.
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
of course.
That we figured that.
Mhm. Okay. Any questions?
Did somebody else want to come through?
No. Somebody's left.
Oh, Corton left?
Yeah.
Okay, then I have one since he's gone.
I think he keeps on coming in to check on me due to the fact that I was a bit loose-mouthed the other night.
Yes, what happened with that? Did you get in trouble?
Yes, quite a bit, but nothing I can't handle.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. I do like to talk sometimes.
Well, that's good. We like it when you talk. It's good to have you on a friendly basis here. Okay, then while he's gone, let me ask you, why was he so upset the other channeling session? He was in an abrupt, bad mood.
Yes, that was a bit unlike the going on with it. Well, there's several things. One is that uh, Mark's emotional state at the time was very disorganized, and he should not have been channeling at all in that kind of condition.
He's okay now, right?
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
fully
okay.
recovered. There was still still after effects,
Right.
residual effects.
So that was part of it. What was the other part?
The other part is that some of the questions um, were a bit wasteful on time.
Which were those?
Um, the religious ones, we don't have that much knowledge. Well, we have quite a bit of knowledge on the religion, but
It's not of importance.
no, it is a waste of valuable time. Even I agree with that.
Something else. How come Tia seems to be so unavailable lately? Does it have to do with me?
You best ask Tia herself.
Is she coming through tonight?
Possibly.
Good. Also, did you see me up there?
Yes, but we were busy discussing technical information.
Okay.
I apologize for not even saying hi, but Mark seemed to think that the information needed clarifying.
That's okay. Also, I'm not gonna look. Oh, did Kornos take a sample of me that night?
From your gluteus maximus,
Is that my hip?
pretty close to it.
Oh, okay. Did he?
Yes, he did. He's very keen on genetic material and always looking for new genetic material.
So what did he find?
You don't have to ask him.
Is he coming through tonight too?
I don't know. He's pretty busy working with Kara and Kara's present condition.
How is she doing?
Oh, she's getting big.
Okay. Now I'm going to shut the tape recorder off.
Okay. Mark does know how to do that. He did that with Russ, but I'm sure that he was worried about causing harm to you because the dimension jump. If he goes solid, he has to disengage from the individual to go solid and then re-engage, which is quite a fancy trick. He has to do that in less than 1,000th of a second, which takes a lot of skill, determination,
And energy.
and energy.
How can I help out? What can I do from my side?
Be prepared for a sudden change in perspective, possible quite a lot of pain. best person to talk to on this would be Russ, to ask him what he experienced the first time that he went through that jump.
Right.
Be prepared for disorientation for a second. And we will try to fix you up with somebody that will be able to coach and teach you from here to give you incentive to get here. However, the only person that I could think of right now is myself. And I do have
a busy schedule.
Yes, I'm sorry, and
That's okay. No, somebody I met when I was up there, which Mark said was from the welcoming committee, was
yes.
Nasseril.
Yes.
And which was strange because Mark said that he had met Nasseril when he was first up there.
Oh, yes. That's real with a sense of humor.
Does he have a sense of humor?
Yes, be warned, he's liable to do something extremely daft.
Oh, okay.
There is another way of cutting down energy, conserving energy to be used elsewhere, is whilst making the jump, is getting rid of any unnecessary clutter in the mind, any
emotional problems.
Not necessarily emotional problems. When you bar sight or make a dimension jump like that, it is best to carry minimal amount of equipment with you, material or physical or whatever.
So then crystals wouldn't be helpful.
Where you can use them
to supply energy?
Yeah, to supply energy in your hands as your body doesn't physically need the plane of existence that you're on, but such things as trying to think of a word, garments, get rid of those temporarily, recreate them on the other side. Or if you're clever and smart, you can pull them through with you. But to create the illusion physically of garments does take necessary energy.
Okay.
I know due to your clothing to do that you might feel uncomfortable about this.
Well, I would feel uncomfortable in front of Mark, but that's okay.
Well, that is understandable.
He sees me every day.
Was it?
Basically.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well.
Next question. You had me confused for a second. You seem to have a bit of a crowd here this evening.
Yes, we do.
More than last night.
Mm-hmm. Corton, right? Yep, it's a wall. Okay, Cindy's here. You know Cindy. Russ is over here. You know Russ. And then this is my friend Mike.
Good evening, Mike. Greetings, Russ.
Is Corton around?
He'll be here shortly. Wish to talk to Corton first?
No. I want you to continue telling us about the wizard rig.
Okay, now where did we get to?
We got to the...
Says, right, we got to Black Obsidian.
Right.
Okay. Now then, from the Black Obsidian place around the neck, you sit it in a comfortable position, however you wish, depending on the dimensions of your diagram. You then activate the electromagnets using the Black Obsidian as a shield to protect your lower body. This is very important that the Black Obsidian corresponds correctly to the proportion of the electromagnetic field that you will be using.
Okay, why Black Obsidian?
For many reasons, the density of the material, the reflective capabilities of the material, the color of the material, the conductivity of the material, the retention of energy of material. And a number of other ones which, for the moment, elude my grasp that I cannot quite remember.
Okay. Now you said that sitting in the purigram while doing this in a comfortable position, could you lay down?
No, because you would be, you'd have to sit. Once it is activated and all external inputs have been removed, you will no longer be aware of your body. So it doesn't actually matter what position you're in. A comfortable position is handy for when you do return, um, so your body is not cramped and being in an uncomfortable position. And the pad and chair might be nice to use, but not a chair like a sofa or deeply padded material.
Okay. Also, I have some news for you.
Mhm.
The sword.
Uh-huh.
The name is Sword of Asingar.
Oh, interesting. We shall do some research on that.
And Mark said that he knows it was the same one as in the dream because it has a snake
Mm-hmm.
on it. It has a,
This is interesting. So now we have a picture of the aforementioned sword, and we have a name. This will give me something to do in my limited spare time. Just now even more limited.
Oh,
You find that amusing, Russ? And how's your manifestation going?
Quite well, actually. We're still working on the part of visiting manifestation and thinking things will kind of getting closer and closer to the present.
Very droll.
um, did you guys have anything to do with one of Mark's friends? Her name is Laura, and her car broke down on a trip.
Um, when was this?
It's when Mark went to class, you could just see the Michigan channel.
Yes, we do remember that was very fascinating.
That's so too. Like you might have to do with that.
So how's the manifesting doing? Come on, let's manifest.
Avoiding the answer.
Come on, do we do that?
Of
Yeah.
course.
Only when it is a learning experience.
Do you have any results from Cornas's tests of me?
It's only been a few hours.
I know, I'm just anxious.
You know what genetic scientists are like. They tend to,
Studying things.
yes, they tend to go into minute detail where minute detail may be frivolous. Saying how many chromosomes there are in each individual and analysing in like minute detail genes and chromosomes, trying to split them. Dull tedious research that they seem to enjoy so much.
Also, do you guys have any news for us at all? I know it's only a couple hours, but anything new?
Give us a break.
Alright, fine. Sorry. How can I expand on my telepathy skills when neither Mark nor Russ is strong in telepathy?
Is there anybody that you're particularly close to at your educational institute
Yes.
that you could try with them?
Okay. Well, possibly. I mean, I just know her a little bit, but I'll go into that. Oh, also, is it possible for my physical looks to be passed on into this life from a past life?
Possible, yes, but not in the way that you were thinking of. It can be a coincidence that maybe 200-300 years ago you looked roughly as you did, or 500 or 600 years ago. It is more a matter of coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
That you could take any number of people and find similarities between a group of 100. You could find maybe 20 out of that group that has blue eyes and blonde hair.
Because the reason I ask is that Mark, I told you earlier that we want to try to go into a regression where we find out the life in which Mark and I were related. Well, Mark has a cousin right now that it could be my identical twin.
Interesting.
Looks exactly like me. Okay, well, do you have any more questions, Russ?
Okay, let's hear them, Russ.
Where did we get this obsidian that you were asking about? It's kind of specialized pet, is it?
It's just a bit.
It's only be kind of a tall order, though.
You want some kind of substitute.
Either that or a simple wing structure.
The best bet would probably go to a place where they cut stone and give them exact specifications. As to obtaining black obsidian to cut, we can think of quite a number of places. There's some close at hand and some further afield.
We're researching all part of the research.
Yes.
We're starting on the generators.
And you know the points do have to be extremely sharp, the ones that will be placed around the top of the cranium.
Is there a way to get dimensions from it?
The dimensions are stored inside the channel.
Oh yes. You mentioned something earlier in the channel about what latent generators that do.
Not necessarily a futon, some kind of chair to make yourself at the right height.
Okay, well, we can do something like this. The bed that the channel is sitting on, Mark, also folds into a chair, with the back part of the chair being a triangle, which forms the back of it. Inside of that triangle, could place the ion generator, space to
And the question is,
sound like good.
yes it does, but that is not the question that you were thinking of asking. Can I ask you a question?
Yes, of course.
You sound as if you are... yes, that's the word.
Yes, it did, actually. And it's one of those nights. We've had a tough day. You recall my interest in some help with my girlfriend recently?
Yes.
She got into a car accident this morning. She got taken to jail.
Hold on a second. This jail.
A cell where they keep humans behind bars in order to control them.
It's cell?
Yeah, like a cage.
Yes. We were confused there for a second. A cell is what constructs a single cell organism.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, basically a cage for holding humans.
Why should they treat people as a lower species?
It's a form of rehabilitation.
They feel that they've disobeyed and they need to be punished.
We are having difficulty understanding that, but please proceed with your explanation.
Well, she's gonna stay in there for a couple of days. The good news on this is that she'll have a chance to detoxify her body from the alcohol. She's a good into it.
Perhaps she ought to talk to one of our members up here.
Tia.
Yes.
Is she going to be able to come through?
We're still trying to straighten her brain out.
Oh. How long does that last?
It normally lasts approximately 7 hours, depending on the individual. And as Tia is a small individual, they take the full time.
When is that time up for her?
It should be approximately about an hour and a half of your time.
Okay. Do you have any more cards?
Yes. Last time. Mark was a little, I don't know,
Perturbed?
yeah, perturbed over your button in the channels.
Well, there was an agreement made, although it wasn't in writing, but the agreement was made to do this next session, this present session.
Right.
And we do feel a little bit frustrated when an individual says they'll do one thing and then does something totally different.
No, I look like a bad guy.
That's true, but that's not a problem.
Why was there such a long delay?
No, just 4 minutes.
I mean, between channeling sessions, we were expecting you a little while ago.
We were talking. Maybe just about something wasn't great.
Do you remember that I asked you about how Mark could use his insecurity about channeling in front of strangers?
Ah, yes.
Well, that came into effect today.
Oh, yes, of course, an extra person.
Yeah. So that delayed it very much, so.
Okay. Presumably you have run out of questions for me. Do you have any questions for my esteemed colleague who has now arrived and is waiting?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Wish me to go?
Yes. Get out of here. I don't like you at all. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't get mad.
How can I get my hands?
I don't know.
I don't even know what the word means.
Oh, kidding?
Ah, yes. A sense of humour.
Yes.
Find that amusing, Russ?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much for your assistance.
Okay. You, as asked last time, you do the trick for us?
Yeah, for real.
To attempt.
You will attempt. Okay. On the count of 3. 3.
Progress.
A little.
Still. Focus.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get it there. Let's get it there.
Practice.
That's more so.
Okay. We shall can't think of the word. Never mind.
Depart?
No.
Okay.
We shall possibly be available later. That's not the word I'm looking for, but it will do.
Taylor, it's your turn.
Yes.
Have a good manner, though.
Good evening.
Hello, Corton.
Good court time.
What's it?
I'll just start with questions.
Okay, proceed, and I believe we'll have some introductions to do.
Oh, yes. Cindy Cindy's here. She's been here before. Russ is over here.
Mhm.
And this is Mike.
Good evening, Mike. And I believe there is also
Feline.
that's at the foot of this climb,
Yes, there is. That's
Calvin.
Calvin.
Okay, questions?
Okay. When Mark channels,
Mm-hmm.
does he pick up some of your traits, and vice versa? You pick up some of his traits.
Yes and no. You can pick up some of your our traits. Mark seems to have done this by being more, um, having a larger vocabulary, which we are working on expanding. We have picked up some of Mark's, sorry, the word eludes me at the moment.
Characteristics?
No.
Traits.
No. It's his emotion, humor.
Oh.
Something that we have made attempts at before.
They've worked quite nicely.
Yes. And by the way, do you still use my nickname when talking about me behind my back?
No, we don't.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it was not respectful. So it wasn't all the best sense of the term.
That's true.
But I'm concerned with the wizardry
Mm-hmm.
currently being planned. When the body sits in the crossover position where the beams cross,
Mm-hmm.
does it go into automatic?
The body? Yes, it does. The subconscious continues to operate the body, whereas conscious gets linked into the framework and into the various energy fields. What information do you have on this instrument that you're planning to build?
Okay. Dealing with 4 metal bars of iron wrapped with copper wire on both very numerous lines. All of it attached to a battery terminal, which will have a total of 6 volts running through it. Those points of the electromagnets will face inward to the positive side. And will cross over right at just above the point above the spine. And the person doing up and down. So we have some plus an ion generator possibly placed in the field ground.
This ion generator, did you come up with the idea for it yourself?
Pretty much so, yeah. It's the direction of getting in there right now.
Mm-hmm. It's very good. You seem to be proceeding extremely well. I was concerned that my colleague might have been leaking information to you. He does have a tendency to get carried away when he was doing research and study.
Now we've been doing a lot of research ourselves around this.
Mm-hmm. Presumably from this book that is, I believe we discussed that the channel would have to read it again to.
Yes, right. From the many colored land.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And 2 more questions about it, if I could.
Mm-hmm.
If the subject in the electromagnetic field is interrupted and brought out of it suddenly,
Mm-hmm.
how much reaction time would be needed? Would it damage the subject in the fall?
It depends what function you're using. Farsighting is to be extremely harmful. due to the fact that the mind is elsewhere working on other things. Whereas if you were doing something like maybe a bit of coercion or manifestation, all this would do is interrupt the individual and make him feel a little bit nauseated for a period of time. Unless, of course, he was trying to manifest some combustible substance that was to be ignited, and that could be quite harmful, not only for the individual but for the structure that houses this instrument that you're planning to build.
So in other words, from far side, there should be somebody here as a monitor.
Stop anybody else from coming in and interrupting the possibilities going on.
My other question is, are we going to see benefits on a physical level in certain health?
You'll have to talk to Amol about this. You should have asked him before you had to depart.
I thought this one year viewers.
This instrument is not what I have been studying.
Oh, that's right.
What have you been studying?
Actually, we are still processing some data that Mark picked up a while back on one of those surveillance trips to a hostile environment.
What the big one?
Mm-hmm.
What's that doing?
We've been keeping a check on them at regular intervals, and there seems to be no significant threat to the area that they're heading to at the moment. However, their flight may have changed.
So we all still in hibernation.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible to do a regression in a past life where I took on another form, such as a cat?
It's possible. But there again, it wouldn't be that interesting. You'd be concerned with mainly feeding yourself and getting enough relaxation time is the Calvin is trying to do at the moment.
Because my friends all say that I have cat-like features in my looks, and I can talk to cats, and
Well, some cats are very telepathic.
yeah. Okay, that's all I have.
Okay, Cortar,
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to work on programming regressions for a certain period. If it's nothing vital like Atlantis, would I be able to do that on my own?
You should be able to. Atlantis was a special case due to the fact of the actual metaphysic operance of the individuals at the time.
Also, Mark and I have a kind of an experiment we'd like to try.
Mm-hmm.
But this will take your okay on this one.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like to
You
do.
want to do another Atlantis regression, correct?
No.
Okay. Sorry for interrupting.
Well, that's good to know. What we'd like to do is do a regression blocking channels, so that I would put it through the regression. You could view it from there and ask possibly input on what is being seen by the regression. Oops.
Hmm. We will have to discuss this with my colleagues and a higher authority. Next question, please.
Okay. Is it possible to go back to, say, program to go back, say, a Cro-Magnon point, whereby a vision or a sort of evolutionary scale we can see
it is possible to go back to any time within a safe time area.
And such as what wouldn't be a safe target the government.
Take 3 guesses.
Atlantis is going to be the first one.
Yes.
Lemuria would be the second.
Yes.
And I assume that any colonies from those two would be off limits to.
Off limits to a certain extent, depending on the nearness to a time of the previous mentioned two.
Yeah. Which brings me on the next question, Lemuria.
Mm-hmm.
How much life the differences in the two were there?
There was quite a substantial difference, but there were also quite a number of similarities. It is like comparing your area in the Mediterranean around the Nile Delta and the area in the central part of your continent. Mexico area.
Oh, yes.
Mexico.
Area.
Yeah.
I see. So in different parts of the world, same type of culture.
Mm-hmm. But there were enough similarities to be different from independent.
So were the Lemurians more on a conscious level, psychically more aware?
No, they weren't actually. It's the opposite way around. Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, concepts can be changed over periods of time, and information can be blurred.
Right. Well, when we saw Naxos, what point in the evolution of Atlantis was that 150 years since they migrated from the planet?
Mm-hmm.
Well, our question was that built almost overnight? Say?
No, it wasn't built overnight. Overnight is a time limit. Some of it was actually built before they arrived here. It was just constructed necessary installations for research, learning, and sorry, I'm having difficulty with accessing words.
Sort of like if we were to colonize another planet.
Yes, you would need to take things with you to establish a habitat of some kind.
Why did they pick those two landmasses for their geographically magnetic properties?
Yes, to a certain extent. You want a detailed answer on this?
Not really. My own question was, as Maxis was commenting on that those points were used possibly to offset the Earth's rotational weather pattern.
You can wrestle. Congratulations.
I do sometimes.
How so?
She can recognize your voice good like you. Sounded serious, so that was quick.
Have I ever been serious?
Yes.
A few times.
A few times. And then going to a number of actions.
Yes, when somebody makes a mistake. Okay, tonight there will be 3 of us. There will be myself, brought on the course. Yes.
I see.
So which one of us would you like to start with first?
Maybe yourself or not?
Okay, go ahead.
We have a personal question to start off with. Bethany is concerned about the kidnapping. Or the people that was kidnapped. Say the surgery.
Very so
She's afraid it might have passed on and been deceased.
it would be best if we do not discussed that kind of thing, whether said feline is or isn't is if the feline is alive, then it is in good hands with such a delightful, charming young lady who I would like to meet personally sometime. And if not, then it is also in a package of contented place. So does the existence or non-existence in your dimension truly matter?
I was hoping you could like me.
Yeah, you're liking the mood. You want me to tell some jokes? Perhaps I better not. The only jokes that I can think of are ones that Mark has related to me that might amuse Russ and offend Bethany.
Fair enough. Last week we had a surprise visit from the big guy,
The who?
Ashtar.
Ah, yes. Our Lord and Master.
Yeah. It's quite informative. We lost the recording on that.
I wonder why.
Wasn't my fault.
It was Bethany's fault.
That's what we might have thought.
Oh, you didn't.
Do I detect a current of
Animosity.
Yes.
He's definitely been blaming me, and I know for a fact that it is not my fault.
Do you want us to, when Russ comes past, like next time, to hang him upside down? This bunch of hairy Wookiees?
Yes, that sounds like a good plan.
Thank you, Ashtar.
Oh,
Well,
there's,
this is Omal.
Oh well.
yes, thank you, Bethany. I was going to let the honour slip. Slide down.
Okay, anyway, with Ashtar's visit last week,
Yes.
he said that it might be a good idea
To work on shielding.
Right.
Okay.
He would personally test his solar shields after.
Okay, we're going to have to work with Chandler, so maybe not this time, but next time it would be advisable to put Chandler in a semi-upright reclined position. Does this sleeping station, does it move so it is almost like a chair?
Yes, it does.
Okay. What parts of it move? Will the feet be?
The back moves up, but the feet can be moved down, actually.
It might be best to bring the back up so that it is at approximately a 45-degree angle.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the channeler will take a pounding.
Sure.
So, out of the three of you with the mental workover and everything, the channeler will be the one that will need treating with tongs. No. Kid gloves.
Kid gloves, okay.
Okay, now how's the manifesting going?
It's going well. I'm practicing on colors, but I'm not sure if that's an effective manifestation training technique.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah,
The feline has a different voice this time.
it's a different feline. This
Uh,
is Joey. This is the Chandler's cat barks.
yes, we've heard about this aforementioned feline.
The one with the bald butt.
Oh, what?
He got shaved on his rear end.
He?
Or she, an accident.
Did Mark have anything to do with this?
No, she got in a fight with one of the other little neighbor cats.
I was about to say, it seems unlikely that the aforementioned channeler would inflict any harm on anything willingly.
He's quite upset about it, but she's come along quite nicely.
I remember something about that.
He was very upset at one point.
Yes. Okay, back to serious, light-hearted matters. Does this cat still have a bald patch?
Yes.
And well, we're not going to access that file. There is a file here labeled Python Monty.
Oh, Monty Python. Yes.
Explain, why is it Python Monty when you
Put first name last. It's a typical organizational method that we use here.
interesting,
It's just Hatfield, Russ,
I see.
Partner Mark. So that they look you up through your last name, because last
Yeah.
names are less common than your first name.
Presumably Russell is quite a common name.
Right.
And Bethany, is that a common name?
Yeah.
It's quite rare.
Yes.
But my original name was even more.
Original name?
Shenabeth.
Shenabeth. Is that some kind of Native American?
No, it's a hippie.
60s counterculture.
Yeah.
Counter-revolutionary culture.
Right.
Anti-establishment type thing.
Right.
Yes. We did have a fascinating time with that. Lots of transcendentalism.
Yes, indeed. Quite a consciousness rising there.
Yes, and then in the 70s, I believe in world-time measurement, there was quite a step back.
The Nixon years.
The who?
Nixon, Richard Nixon.
Oh, yes. Tricky Dicky.
Tricky Dicky, right.
Yes.
He's quite a setback for everybody.
Telling me.
But we actually anticipating quite a cultural revolution coming up shortly after our next election.
Yes, we've been following this with interest since we brought our attention to it a while ago.
It promises to actually be a major turning point if signs are right for
Yes.
the culture shock that we're going to go through after this takes place.
Right. Now back to more serious matters.
Right.
Okay, questions.
Questions. Work on our electromagnet. We are.
As I mentioned before, there are other people that yeah.
Okay. One question I had was you mentioned the obsidian.
Black.
Oh dear, what could the matter be?
Can't give it.
Can't?
Why not?
Okay, I'll,
Something to put in your files later.
yeah.
Alright. Ashtar mentioned when he was here, I asked about the origins of Ashtar Command, and his response was on that himself and a few others decided that it would be wise to work on uplifting the races in a particular section of our galaxy. But we didn't get a time frame on that. Is there a time frame on that?
It could be in the future, it could be in the past. It's a very tricky subject this time, as I'm sure the channeler has explained to you. That by entering the time axis, you can choose your own entrance point or exit point. However, the only way that you can time travel backwards or forwards in time is in a parallel universe or by entering a different dimension. Of course, there's all the complicated matters that go with that, different laws of gravity and nature and so on. Different evolutionary patterns. So that the time travel in your own dimension can only be done forward due to certain atoms and molecules that make up a individual. You see, if you were to travel backwards in time in your dimension, then your molecules would automatically assume what they were at that given time. So maybe 1,000 years ago, your molecules might have been out somewhere in your galaxy, probably around about Cassiopeia or maybe Betelgeuse or out in the Horsehead Nebula somewhere.
I see what you mean.
Why do you say Beetlejuice?
That is a planet in the Orion system, in the Orion constellation. That is the bright one that is, let me think, the right shoulder. Bright red one, and then you go down, you've got Orion's belt, and the sword of Orion which hangs down loose, and in that Orion's belt you have the Horsehead Nebula, and then you go on down to the feet, and work your way back up. Interested in astronomy, young lady?
Yes.
Oh,
I haven't studied it much, but interested in it.
why did you ask Beetlejuice?
Well, there was recently a movie called Beetlejuice.
Oh, yes, yes.
Had to do with a lot of strange concepts.
Life is strange. Okay.
We were discussing manifestation.
Oh, yes. Colors.
Colors. Right. I'm trying to figure out a way.
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
Figure out.
And
Any particular figure in general?
yes. In colors, am I switching the colors of the atoms to reflect that particular color?
Yes, but it is best to start off with shading of the color. If you're changing blue to green, it takes a lot more work than if you go from dark blue to light blue. Logical, huh?
Logical. So, white would go to like beige.
Yeah. Or a lighter shade of blue. What is so amusing?
That's a sign.
Hmm.
I mean, English is a lot to take over Mark styles.
No, but holding the second last side. I could have written that.
Yes, you could have.
Something about skip the light fandango.
Right. Okay, so it's a darker shade of the color.
Darker or lighter, I really like it.
Good. Would another practice on manifestation, or actually it might be or moving things around, you with candle flames?
That would be more along the lines of moving something, whether or not it is a flame creating a gust of wind. That is psychos.
Yeah,
No.
easy.
Thank you.
Now we do have something to report on Mark's abilities. They've taken a large jump from the last time we talked to you.
Oh, really? What's he done this time? Has he coerced somebody into giving them something he wants?
No, not this time. He started a fire.
Oh, what?
Right. Started a fire with his mind.
Does he know how he did this?
I might think so.
Is there any damage?
He burned a hole in, I think, in one of his aircraft.
He flies?
Well, paper modeler.
That's really.
It's made out of paper, but it didn't catch fire, but it smoldered. It started smoldering a hole in the wing.
Really?
He was working on a cigarette, I think.
Hold on a second. We are going to look into this matter. This is a most serious matter that could be very harmful if not kept with a fire extinguisher at hand.
Right. Wait.
Really? That could be very dangerous. Does he have any dreams about fire?
Not that you mentioned.
You better ask him if he does. Getting a fire extinguisher and a hose. I'm trying to make light of this, but it is not a very light matter. Does he?
What happened? I mean, why is this suddenly occurring? This wasn't a thing that was even anticipated.
No, this is why we are concerned. Why it's happening is such. Well, yes, very dangerous, but there seems to be a neural pathway that has been restricted, that has been opened. So it could be useful, but there again could be very harmful. There is a movie that springs to mind.
Baxter.
Yes, that's the one I think we've discussed this one in the past.
Yes.
And the certain analogies from there tend to be pretty horrific. So we suggest that Mark gets hold of a fire extinguisher at some time.
Yeah, I've got one of the fire alarm is big too.
Yeah.
Smoke detector, I should say.
That might be confusing with his nicotine addiction. And talking of addictions,
Right.
yes, we do pick up from a night, four nights ago, 2 nights ago, a pattern of rather confusion, and we also did hear the channel of art here crying out for help and confusion.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And we were wondering if you were responsible.
That was completely my fault.
Uh-huh.
It was a little bit more than we anticipated. For me, it was a normal, average, everyday dose.
Yes.
He seemed to have been a little overwhelmed by it.
That is understandable, as we believe Mark doesn't do that sort of thing very often.
It was very low tolerance level for that.
For a farsighted to experience something like that, it must have been terrifying.
It wasn't comfortable.
Anyway, let's hand over the table to somebody else who may be a little reluctant to talk. So, I shall be sitting on the sidelines.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay.
Hi, Tia.
Well, that's it.
How is it going?
Fine.
Good. Bethan's here.
Well, good for
Hi, Tia.
Then we've got also Mark's cat, Joe.
Yeah.
You don't have any cats up there, do you?
Cats in the kitchen.
Anyway, what's up?
Too much work.
We understand that. Long time no hear. We haven't talked to you in a while.
What? You kept busy.
What is the? Are you working with Courthouse right now again?
Mm-hmm.
How's Cara? I haven't gotten a chance to see her in a while.
She's fine.
Any questions for us this evening?
Well, I was told that you had questions for me.
Yeah.
Well, I simply wanted to tell you that Mark's on a Did you see me up there the other day?
Briefly.
Yeah. Sorry that I didn't acknowledge that. I don't really know when I'm to Navy's base with Mark. Can't get there over, so I just wanted to do it this long.
Anyway, we were discussing with Omal Mark's fire ability. You were wondering, has he exhibited anything like that up there with you?
No, no mention of it at all, except for listening to our mind.
Okay. We're a little bit surprised about the turn that things have taken.
Either lights?
Well, I'm a little stuck on questions to ask to you.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've talked to you.
I'll be back.
Cheerful young lady, isn't she?
Very truthful.
Cheerful.
Oh, sure.
I believe that is one of your emotions. Humour.
Sarcasm.
Sarcasm. So,
It's alright. How do we clear this up? It's not in our realm to do so, I imagine.
I'm not a mediator.
Yes, we realize that. But, yeah, well, you're right. Tough to talk to there. Is it me?
I believe so.
Well, what can I do? I don't know what the problem is. I'm not even.
Would it be Mark's reactions to Bethany? It might be having some effect on Tia.
I think it's the fact that Tia isn't seen as much of Mark as she would like. And when he does come up with it, he drags along Bethany twice so far. And Tia feels probably left out and a little bit betrayed. After all, she's only 23. That's a little bit impressionable. Having never had a serious boyfriend before.
Well, one thing we do here on Earth that seems to work a lot is let time take its turn.
I'm going to say it again. Time machine is a very slippery concept.
Right, so we'll just assume that passage of whatever goes for time there.
Yes.
We
We could put her through a time rotation, but then she would probably be even more.
yeah, won't work.
Yeah. We will come up with something. You best talk with the channeler where it wasn't occurred.
Okay.
And we will try to get this young lady sorted out. And we apologise for her behaviour, but
Thanks.
yes. I'm sure that given time she will get to like you and not be so. I can't think of the word.
Jealous?
Yes. Possibly.
Marguerite, who we discussed earlier,
Yes.
was the same problem.
Oh, yes.
She was quite jealous of Bethany once.
Do you have that effect on people, young lady?
How's the effect on men? That's the problem.
Yes, I can understand that.
At least these men.
Well, at least you're immune to this all.
I haven't met Bethany yet. Besides, I think I'm too occupied at the moment with my limited spare time that I have due to certain research information on certain experiments, such as the I'm looking for the word to do with the three types of body. There's the ethereal body,
Emotional and mental.
Yeah. You gave me quite a bit to work on there.
That's quite a bit we're working on right
Okay, would you care to talk to anybody else?
now. Correspondent,
Yes, Gordon is available.
That's natural.
And is sitting here. That's interesting. We're sitting here with uh, an antique of some kind. It has,
Really?
yes, it's a different one. It is smaller and folds. The spring folds out on top of it.
Desktop.
Yes, it seems to be quite amused with it.
It's quite an amusing thing. I've played with a couple before.
I'll see you in a little while.
All right, Omar.
Systems check.
Maybe this correspondent.
Greetings, felicitations and salutations, dictations.
We have a bit smaller of a crowd this time.
Yes, only two of you, and I believe, thank you, the feline of the channeler.
Right. Joey.
Yes,
Yeah.
feline. That's very friendly. I'm sorry, being informed.
Quite friendly, actually. Yes.
Okay, now down to business.
Indeed.
As you were aware the other night, certain factors occurred that were necessary to influence. And my superior decided that it was necessary for you people to start on a more serious matter instead of these light-hearted debates that we have been engaged in. So the teaching curriculum will be as follows. Let's say now, you sound very serious.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Okay. First of all, as a group, and you'll have to include the channeler after he's been channeling, which is going to place extra stress and strain on the channeler. And we will come up with some form of antidote beforehand so that the channeler will be able to participate in the after the sessions that we've had. Okay, the first thing will be screening. Now then, each of you has a specialized field that you work in, correct?
Correct.
The young lady's field is
Telepathy.
okay. And I believe she is more interested in file cycling. Is this correct?
Well, I'm equally interested in both, but
Which one are you more proficient at?
telepathy.
Okay, that one is your strongest suit, so we will work on your weakest one. And which is your weakest one? Because I'm accessing here and it says you have telepathy, you're working on file site, and mind control.
And screening.
Screening will be worked on as a group. Okay. Which of these do you feel that you're the weakest in?
Either farsighting or screening, but some screening will be worked on separately than farsighting.
Okay, you will work on file site then to increase your capability. Okay.
I don't know how to control telepathy yet.
Well, if you can get back to us by Friday and tell us which one you are the weakest in and which one you are prepared to work in, then we'll be able to sit down and work out a curriculum for your teaching. Is that satisfactory? Okay. Now, Russell.
Well, so far my strongest is my coercion.
Your weakest is
Farsight.
farsighting. Okay, in that case, we will work on farsighting as a group also, which unfortunately will probably,
Train more.
yes, but we will come up again with an antidote for that. Okay.
Telepathy, though it's real weak, it's
Yeah.
stronger than my farsight. So.
Okay.
What about Mark?
Mark, definitely telepathy and learning to control this new facility that has manifested itself in an unusual form.
What is the name for that?
Creativity.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or you could say Firestomp. I suppose you could bring him out as an arsonist.
Start barbecues.
That's an interesting concept. Explain, please.
Barbecue?
Mm-hmm.
Using a pit full of fire to cook meat on.
No, extremely primitive.
Yeah, but it's
More of a family tradition.
Ah,
yeah, right. Yes. Okay, so he'll work on telepathy.
mhm. And getting this manifestation of the control is my esteemed colleague has said it is extremely dangerous and it needs to be tightened down, controlled, and the necessary restrictions put in place. Okay.
How do we do this? How do we schedule this out?
Okay, first of all, when you start channeling on Friday, you start working on screens. There'll be half an hour on screens prior to the channeling session. We suggest that the channeler only takes part in this lightly. Okay. Then we'll have the channeling session and we'll discuss various techniques. It will be a short channeling session, no more than 15 to 20 minutes. Then the channeling session will end. You will work on your screens again. Then we will have another channeling session
That is it.
that evening of 15 to 20 minutes again.
Okay.
Okay, so we can check up on your information and all the data that you have gathered. And we will also lay down the teaching for the farsight, telepathy, coercion, and manifestation. Okay, you do have this being recorded, don't you?
Let's review this and write them down.
Okay. But once we have finished this part of the teaching curriculum, which should take approximately 6 of your weeks, yes, because it does need to be worked on.
That's screening on.
Screening and the other field research. Correct. Then we will have a revisionary session where we will go over what you have learned. And what is today's date?
The 6th of October.
6th of October, so you want that in 6 weeks' time. I deliberately mentioned, or have you mentioned the date for the fact that it will be a useful reminder for you.
Okay,
So 6 weeks from now, which is 6th of October, we will have a revisionary session, which I believe takes you into a month of December.
Right.
Okay.
At what point will Ashtar then check our screens for us?
Ashtar will check the screens when Ashtar decides that it is relevant. It could be in 3 weeks, it could be 3 months, it could be 3 years even. When Ashtar decides that the time is correct, he himself will check your screens. Yes. And you get the take that the channeler's voice is starting to be strange, which is unusual. Has he been taking enough intake of fluids?
Just tea.
Yeah.
Orange juice, probably.
Probably something refreshing of some kind. Okay.
All right. Anything else?
Not at present. And my colleague informs me that myself and my colleague, Romuald, will be having a little discussion with a young lady.
Thank you. We appreciate any intermediate help we can get.
Yes. We will not harm her too much.
Thank you.
You should just reprimand her and explain to her certain factors that she is not of your culture.
Right. It's a very human thing she's going through.
Yes.
So,
It is not only the human emotion. There are other species out there that do have these emotions: fear, jealousy, happiness, sadness, etc. I believe you have a question for us.
Yeah. The telepathy cards that Russ has, they, on one side, there's a design that just kind of plugs out the other side. And on the opposite side of the card, there's a shape or a color.
Yeah.
And they help you to practice telepathy.
Yeah.
Now, in using these cards, I normally get them right.
Yeah.
And so I know that my telepathy powers are strong, but to use them, that will be learned in the sessions discussing telepathy.
Yes.
Should I not practice telepathy while practicing screaming?
At the same time,
Yeah.
you can practice telepathy after the sessions end, but not during, due to the fact that it will distract from
Right.
the teaching of screening. However, if you are more advanced, such as ourselves, then practicing screening and telepathy at the same time would be no more problem than whistling and riding a vehicle of some kind at the same time. We will have to cut this session short due to the fact that the channeler is suffering from voice stress, I believe.
okay. Fair enough. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Very good.
So, good evening. I can say no more.
Okay. Oh, my. Yeah. So, next to do that.
Okay.
Well, I go.